Hey fellow nerds, it's a beautiful day here outdoors on this Independence Day weekend, so we're recording outside. Today we're going to talk about a fantastic spell that you're probably familiar with if you've played a wizard or if you've played with a wizard in your party, the spell Wall of Force. And we're going to talk about the creative uses of Wall of Force, specifically with some epic examples. So let's start by first explaining the spell. If you're not terribly familiar with it, let me read verbatim. This is the Wall of Force 5th level evocation spell. Casting time is 1 action, range is 120 feet. It does use verbal, somatic, and material components, a pinch of powder made by crushing a clear gemstone. And it is a concentration spell that lasts up to 10 minutes, which is important to keep in mind. This is from the player's handbook. And I quote, "An invisible wall of force springs into existence at a point you choose within range," that again is 120 feet. "The wall appears in an orientation you choose as a horizontal or vertical barrier or at an angle. It can be free-floating or resting on a solid surface. You can form it into a hemispherical dome or a sphere with a radius of up to 10 feet. Or you can shape a flat surface made up of 10-foot by 10-foot panels. Each panel must be contiguous with another panel. In any form, the wall is 1/4 inch thick. It lasts for the duration. If the wall cuts through a creature's space when it appears, the creature is pushed to one side of the wall, your choice which side. Nothing can physically pass through the wall. It is immune to all damage and can't be dispelled by dispel magic. A disintegrate spell does destroy the wall instantly, however, and the wall also extends into the ethereal plane, blocking ethereal travel through the wall," end quote. So this is a pretty important spell, very, very powerful spell. Tends to definitely change dynamics on the battlefield when used in a battlefield situation. But let's first talk about selecting the Wall of Force. So who can select this spell? Obviously, in terms of classes that can use it, the wizard class can use this spell. It is defined as a wizard class spell. However, you can also use it as an artificer. If you choose the subclass armorer or artillerist subclass as artificer, you can use it. Paladins who choose the subclass Oath of Redemption get this spell. Sorcerers also, with the Clockwork subclass, get this spell. But sometimes overlooked, bards. Using the class feature Magical Secrets, available at 10th, 14th, and 18th level, they can select 2 spells of any class. Now this is very interesting, and it's important to read the rules and understand how this class feature works. I'll read again from the player's handbook. Magical Secrets, under the Bard class. By 10th level, you've plundered magical knowledge from a wide spectrum of disciplines. Choose 2 spells from any class, including this one. A spell you choose must be of a level you can cast, as shown on the Bard table, or a cantrip, end quote. So, bards can also use this spell. If they choose it when they reach 10th, 14th, or 18th level, and choose it as one of the 2 spells available by the Magical Secrets class feature. So, this is how I've seen it used very creatively by a bard in our campaign. And let's talk about some of those creative uses of Wall of Force. So first, of the 4 types of uses, the first type of use that I'll describe is as a temporary repair. So in this case, it was a temporary repair on the hull of an anchored boat. The party was separated into multiple boats. And as the boats, and they were separated because of the size of the boats during a seagoing voyage portion of the campaign. And as the boats came to rest in the evening and were anchored, the boats were attacked. And the boats were attacked by an unseen foe. But one of the characters heard noise down below, went below decks, and suddenly screamed that the boat was taking on water as something had punctured the hull. And so the bard ran down the ladder, partially down below deck, seeing the punctured hull, cast Wall of Force to shore up the compromised section of hull. Now this boat is, at the time, immobile, anchored, and so this wall of force kind of held fast and held against the bulkhead and shored up the hull, and the boat stopped taking on significant water. Obviously, it took on some water, but it wasn't gushing in, and they were able to focus then on battle as opposed to trying to perform damage control on the boat and keep the boat from sinking. So, first use. Second use that we'll describe is as a weapon. And this was a very interesting use. Same campaign, same arc of the campaign, while the characters are underway and they're being chased. And so the three boats were out on the open sea, and two other boats came over the horizon, two larger boats. These were ships and looked to be warships. They looked to be threatening, and they gave chase after the three boats that the party was in. And so the party, by looking at these other boats that were chasing them, began to sense that these other boats were going to overtake them. The other ships that were pursuing them were moving faster than the boats that the party was in. And so again, this bard went to look at the boats that were chasing them and chose one of the two boats that were chasing the party boats, and went to the stern of the boat he was in and cast Wall of Force in a sphere in the path of one of these two chasing boats. Now again, if you recall in the spell description, it is an immovable Wall of Force, in this case in the form of a sphere 10 feet in diameter. And so if you remember from physics class, that sphere, when something comes in contact with it, it comes in contact with a small point on that sphere. And so basically when the boat at full speed hit this sphere, this immovable force, it fractured the boat straight down the keel and split the boat in two, and it sank. And so it was a great force multiplier for the party to reduce the pursuers by half. And so that was a significant turn in that battle as well. The third creative use of Wall of Force is in a barricade. Now this is kind of the obvious use of Wall of Force, but use it creatively when the party is facing hostile forces. So the first time the party used it, it was when the party was about to retire to a tavern. They had retired upstairs in the tavern above a bar. Someone was on watch, and there were rumors of townspeople going berserk in this town, and so the party was there to kind of investigate. And so the party is taking a long rest. They're upstairs in the tavern above the bar, and one party member is on watch when he hears noise and commotion down below. And so the townspeople that were crazed by whatever was causing them to be out of their mind had kind of come into the tavern seeking no good. And so the bard, having been woken by the noise and by the watchkeeper, again ran to the top of the stairs on the second floor and cast Wall of Force on the stairwell, the only entrance or egress from the second floor, to buy the party some time to form a battle plan on what to do, because they didn't necessarily want to engage these town people whom they knew, but were at the moment hostile, and so it gave the party some time to kind of form a battle plan. The second way that it can be used as a barricade, in this case it was also in a battle scenario. The party came upon an alkylith, and if you're not familiar with alkylith from Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, an alkylith can easily be mistaken for some kind of foul fungal growth that appears on doorways, windows, and other portals. These dripping infestations conceal the demonic nature of the alkylith, making what should be a dire warning appear strange but otherwise innocuous. Wherever alkyliths take root, they weaken the fabric of reality, creating a portal through which even nastier demons can invade. So an alkylith, after it spends time on a surface, eventually will attune to the abyssal plane, tune to the abyss, and become a portal to the abyssal plane. And so in this case, the party had come upon an alkylith, had understood it to be a portal to the abyssal plane, and again the bard cast Wall of Force in front of the open orifice and effectively closing off the portal. So anything that did come through the portal would kind of move in the other direction, whatever was on the other side of this window or door orifice, and basically buy the party some time again to come up with a game plan. The last way that it was used in a barricade, and again, this is the third way to use it as a barricade. The last example that I'll offer in using it as a barricade was, again, during battle. In this case, the party had come into a multi-point intersection in a subterranean tunnel, kind of a dungeon scenario. No doors, it was just tunnels leading to kind of an intersection, multi-point intersection. And they were already engaging some creatures when other creatures were heard coming down another tunnel about to engage. And it turned out to be 2 minotaurs, and the bard simply turned, cast Wall of Force, basically closing that door, immovable object, 10 by 10 in that tunnel, and again separated the creatures, being able to battle these creatures first before dealing with the minotaurs. In the same dungeon, the party had come upon a doorway, opened it, and right there was a chimera. And so immediately the bard cast Wall of Force, effectively closing the door. He was back, so the person that opened the door was in front of him, and so he couldn't physically get to the door to close it. He didn't have the strength to get to the door to close it, but he could cast Wall of Force and effectively shut off the chimera's attack, giving the party a chance to decide what to do, and then drop the wall and attack the chimera. And in this case, he dropped the wall and cast Otto's Irresistible Dance on the chimera, and the chimera was dancing uncontrollably. So it was kind of a humorous moment. The last and fourth and final example that I'd offer for creative use of Wall of Force is to save a party member. In this case, the party was advancing across a very rickety bridge. I believe it was a rope bridge of some sort. It was swaying, creaking to and fro, and the party was attacked by a group of devils, and a horned devil had come up and attacked a number of party members close to the bard, knocking the ranger off the bridge. The ranger, one of the bards, one of the characters' close allies, and who was great at ranged fighting, of course, was knocked off the bridge by this horned devil and was about to fall to his death. And again, quick thinking, cast Wall of Force immediately under this character, retarding the fall and basically stabilizing the character on a platform next to the bridge, giving the character the opportunity to leap back onto the bridge on his next turn, ultimately saving the character from most certain death, falling who knows how far into that chasm. So those are 4 creative examples of the use of Wall of Force. Again, the character classes that can use it, obviously Wizard, and then Artificer, Paladin, Sorcerer, depending on which subclass you choose, and also Bard, if you get to 10th level, at 10th, 14th, and 18th level, choosing Magical Secrets. The 4 creative uses that I suggested are a temporary repair to a wall, a ship's hull, something like that, a floor. Secondly, as a weapon. I'm trying to think creatively how to use the Wall of Force in battle. Third, obviously as a barricade. And then lastly, as just a protective platform, something to catch a falling player character, or NPC. So just some creative ideas on how to use Wall of Force, a spell that I absolutely love and adore and take at any opportunity I can. And it does tend, if used creatively, to kind of disrupt the game a little bit for dungeon masters that aren't expecting it. So it's fun to add to your game and use very, very creatively. So let me know in the comments any creative uses you've used Wall of Force, and what you think of the creative uses that we've shared. Peace.